Hello everyone and welcome back to Fully Operational. We are bringing you more coverage of the UK National Championships here for Star Wars, the card game. On the left we have Rowan Gavin playing as Scum. Looks like he's doing Scum splashed with Sith as he's flopping Emperor's Web, Council of the Sith and Masterful Manipulation for his starting objectives. And on the right we have Anton Price, Darth BS from the forums. You know him, you love him. He's flipping Heroes Beginning, which is putting 3 edge cards under there right now. Heroes and Legends in the middle, Kyle Katarn's pod, and May the Force be with you for Yoda and Seeds of Decay shenanigans. So, on the left, Sith Scum. Classic combo. Xizor and Palpy. Tactics Gods. Masterful Manipulation is a great objective to see on the flop there for Rowan. He gets it's a 4-2, so you can double tap it. It's got a few less hit points than you'd normally expect, but you can intentionally just put it back in your deck of objectives. It doesn't count as destroyed, and you get to cycle a new one. So, yeah, 2 resources isn't really a downside. Neither the 4 health. Neither's the 4 health if you can time it right. No first turn resource for Rowan other than the Advisor. Plays an Advisor and the Royal Guard, so pretty decent 2 drops for turn 1. It's about as good as you could hope for. Choosing not to double tap Masterful Manipulation there. I mean, I guess you can't. They're both Sith affiliated units, but interesting that he doesn't have any bigger hitters in his hand, or at least chose not to play them if he does. Decides to commit just the Advisor. Passes the turn and a draw off Council. Anton. Mono Jedi. Discards a Force Cleansing. Has a Training Grounds. So turn 1 resource is very, very nice. Kyle. Oh, maybe not Kyle. R2, then Kyle. Okay, Anton changing his mind on the order there. Could trigger Kyle to put a focus on the Advisor. Looks like he's forgotten that. And swings for Council of the Sith. Oh, yeah, Rowan pulling him up on that one. You did miss your trigger there, Anton. So that Advisor is available for the defense. Bit of a decision here for Rowan. Don't have a way of dealing with Kyle, he will just murder either of those 2 units if they block. So he decides to block with both. Got to win the edge battle here, Rowan. If you don't, that tactics isn't available. And you'd only do 1 unit damage. So Rowan's got to be pretty confident of winning this edge. And that's why I think he's got 2 Twists of Fate in his hand. Pass, and echoes and a twist, so edge battle starts over. Now Anton has left Heroes and Legends free, so that could be an idle threat, or he could bounce in a different Kyle. Looks like Anton passes in the edge.
desperate back
Strikes with the guard and does 2 damage. Asking if he has any actions. Yeah. Yeah. Advisor strikes and tactics is Kyle. He's not in the engagement, so Kyle won't strike first. And that was pretty. I don't know if Rowan actually had a way of killing Kyle there. He may have had. He does have a choke, it looks like. So Rowan, being a good sportsman, checking if Anton had any actions before the choke came out. Yeah, it looks like Anton forgot the action there again. When the new Kyle bounced in, he could have focused the advisor. And then swung with Kyle. That's twice, Anton. Come on. Come on, buddy. But Kyle took the force with "May the Force be with you" and sat back, stayed at home. And another Emperor's Web. So events got pretty cheap now for Rowan. Rowan trying to decide what he wants to get rid of. Well, he force chokes Kyle for a start. And looks like discard Dark Side Apprentice. Trying to dig for a few some better units. Doesn't look like he drew any. So took library. And intimidation for Kyle. And a Headhunter. So Headhunter's got plenty of health, shielding, and some good combat icons. It's very cheap, but you have to keep paying an upkeep for it every turn. It will cost you an extra. Well, it'll cost you 1 resource, or it you no longer can afford its services, and it goes away. Intimidate on the board on Kyle will mean that every time he strikes, he'll receive an extra focus icon. So he will strike and then not be available for a few turns. Rowan leaving a few resources open here. Potentially for another deploy or a couple of events. Draws off council and passes the turn. The light side had the force, so Anton decides he doesn't like Council of the Sith. Can't say I blame him. Card draw is a good thing. And Anton discards a nudge. Anton goes through a bit of Ron's guidance. Kyle, seeking the help of his master there. Seems good. Get to check the 5 top cards of your deck. Take a unit, a Jedi unit, and then place them back in the order that you want. So even if you don't find a unit, which it doesn't look like Anton has this time around, you do get to manipulate your deck. Make sure you draw the cards in the order you want to. And back they go. So no units there for Anton. He's going to have to make do with the people he's got in hand. for this turn and probably next turn as well. But that's not a bad one. Luke will do. And we know he's got another Kyle in his hand because he bounced him back last turn. Lightsaber gets to do a damage. Your attachment goes on Endor Luke. You get to trigger and do a damage. Kind of a mini force choke. Do a damage. Do a damage. So it's Obi's lightsaber to give him shielding. But no trigger, which could have killed an advisor. He's just realised.
I'm not allowed to say anything though.
But Luke swinging in at council, and with the ability to discard that enhancement to free himself up, he can double strike, which is a scary thing. So, Headhunter's got shielding if he wants to try and mitigate some of that damage. But Rowan also has the protectors to see if he wants to put a bit of hurt on Luke. Rowan doing the maths on this block, seeing if he wants to even bother. If Luke does double strike, this is going to be a lot of damage coming out, so I wouldn't blame him if he decides to not block. But you know, headhunters are pretty cheap, pretty expendable. Yeah, get that headhunter in there. Shield. Shield's the objective. So, edge battle time. One in for Anton. Pass. One each. So, target beats the Prince's scheme 2-1. Luke strikes for 2 on the objective and 2 on the headhunter. In the engagement, Luke is taking that focus off by discarding the enhancement, the lightsaber there. Takes the damage back from the headhunter. And strikes again. Luke should have a damage on him, but yeah, anyway, he's been force lightninged. Car swings in for another engagement on the Emperor's Web. Now the guard can kill Kyle if he wins this. Seeds of Decay versus a twist, so Rowan twists that away. So, yeah. Oh, pass the edge. So Rowan wins, but strikes, and Kyle's not in the engagement anymore. And Kyle again. choosing not to trigger his reaction when he comes into play. Swings for the other council and then commits with May the Force. So Kyle doing work. He's now not intimidated. So when the old version of Kyle bounced out of play, the enhancement falls off and goes to Rowan's discard pile. So Anton takes the Force and passes back to Rowan. Places the objective with, looks like a Fall of the Jedi. So we know Vader's kicking around. Yeah, and Anton, I'm just realising now that he could have put an extra focus down. 3 for 3, Anton. 3. It's not doing too badly. Ooh, interrogation droid in Rowan's hand there. Man after my own heart. Cruel Interrogations. It's a great pod. It's got a couple of those droids in who force your opponent to discard a card, which can be great if they're holding nothing but Jedi characters. It's got Interrogation, which is a great event, which does the same thing. You get to choose a card that they discard. And so it's very good for controlling your opponent's hand. As we've seen there, forces Anton to discard Kyle. So no more of this bouncy shenanigans. And on top of that, it's got a Black Tactics. Does cost 3 resources though, so it's fairly pricey, but if you've got a decent board already established, it's a good little unit there. Managed to drive a Sith deck with that in it to some good results during last year's regional season. So Rowan, I'm a fan of yours. Good man. Good choice. Commits another advisor to the Force. He's got 4 on the Force now, so takes it back off Kyle. Turn passes to Anton for a fresh 6 cards. Now, I think Anton knows most of what those cards are from last turn's Ron's guidance. I know there wasn't a unit in there, or at least there wasn't a Jedi unit in there. So what can you play this time round? Because Rowan's board's starting to build up and look quite scary. A lot of tactics. If Rowan can win an edge battle, he can start locking Anton out of this game, but we'll see. Another resource. Still early on in the game, so not bad. Not a bad card to see. A nudge. Nudge number 2. Takes the dial back down. And Atari Training gets played. Atari Training, usually edge fodder or discard at the start of your turn. It's got 2 icons on it. And it says if you win an edge battle, I think by 3 or more, maybe 2 or more, you just get to annihilate. You get to destroy target participating unit. So it's kind of I have you now on demand. So yeah, I think it is 2 or more. But choosing not to start striking, he plays the nudge, commits him, and takes the Force back from Rowan. So slow game. Dial is creeping up here, but neither player racing towards victory. Anton has got 1 objective down, and a bit of a damage on an Emperor's Web. So. Still anyone's game. If Rowan gets a decent powerhouse unit here, his board's looking pretty solid. He's got a protector out to keep them there. And Another resource, so really ramping up for the late game here, Rowan. I can see a Palpy. And that's a good... That would be a good drop. He's got a couple of other options with another Protector and the Interrogation Droid. But I think Palpy's the better choice here. Gives you elite and tactics for days. An ability to really hold down that force. And if he needs it, it's he can recur some events from his discard pile when objectives start getting blown up, which is a really obnoxious combo. If you can start cycling interrogation from that pod we spoke about earlier, you can just at the beginning of the Jedi player's turn just keep taking their best card. Not a nice thing, but yeah, Palpy would be my choice here, I think. And there we go. There he is, Papa Palpatine, the man himself. Oh, chooses to keep his scum resources open. He uses an advisor rather than his affiliation card at the top of the screen there, so that's got to be some warning bells for Anton. Rowan making some decisions here. He's got a couple of options, it would seem. It looks like he can play the scum event. I think it's Shadows of the Empire to put an objective on the bottom of Anton's deck. So if he wants to stop Heroes and Legends,
I've been looking for that.
he can do. Yep, good shout. Shadows of the Empire takes Heroes and Legends away, so no more bouncing shenanigans for Anton. Unless he is running 2 copies and draws the other one. So, deploy and then commit Palpatine. Takes the Force. And the new objective for Anton is Heroes Beginning.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Chooses to trigger it, so he's going to have a boatload of edge cards because I don't think he's used any from the first one yet. So they've both got 3 cards under them. And I'm a Jedi from Endor Luke's pod in the discard there. And Anton draws up. Probably one of the weaker cards from that set. Well, definitely one of the weaker cards from that set. Let's not be coy about it. It's a good enhancement if you can get it on Luke. It's some resources and he can discard it to free himself up. But in most circumstances, it's a bit lackluster. So Anton draws a fair few cards now. Let's see what he can do. And there's a Yoda Usyk Yoda. Gonna find Yoda, 2-cost event. Put Yoda into play from your deck. And the Death Star Dow should tick up by 1 as well. Death Star Dow should tick up by 1 as well. Okay. Anton checking what he's got under these objectives as edge cards.
So this is your page. Yeah.
Yours. I've got mine. Both.
Yeah, it must be your page.
Well, whoever doesn't have 2 leads.
3.
3 leads.
Kyle uses Emperor's Weapon.
That's all Anton is doing for his deploy, it looks like. Swinging for Emperor's Web with Kyle.
This is where Atari training is stupid.
And Rowan quite rightly pointing out that Kyle with Atari training when Anton has about 11 edge cards is a scary thing. If Palpy blocks, I don't think there's much he can do. Kyle is probably going to win that edge battle by 2 or more and stab him. So yeah. Might be tempted to try and block with an interrogation droid here and just bait out a few edge cards.
Choose the unit, destroy a target.
before.
You can't protect 7 guns. Do you have corrupt official in hand?
Mulligan.
Big decision here for Rowan. Ooh, the front 3. Emperor's Advisor, Royal Guard and the Interrogation Droid all blocking. Kyle can't deal with all 3 of them. Now, he can if he has an edge, if he has a heat of battle in his edge stack. Potentially, if Rowan doesn't protect it. But, Anton's probably quite sure he can win this edge.
Okay. I've got Last Grand Admiral, Agent of the Emperor, and the Emperor's Web.
Can you start your
First one.
phase
Yeah.
and play?
Sure.
Straight. 7 unit damage.
So does that mean I have to pay 1 extra?
Double heat. Double heat. Oh, no, maybe heating the seeds actually. My bad. Now Rowan. Rowan not protecting the heat with the advisor, but with the protector even. But Atari training triggers to kill the Royal Guard, and then Kyle just kills the droid the good old-fashioned way. And that's both Rowan's defenders locked out. So, and with an unfinished business, that is Luke on the board. That's game. Yeah, nothing he can do to stop both those taking out the final Emperor's Web. So, great game there from both players. Some missed triggers, but I don't think Anton would complain given the result. So that, I think, again, given we're in the lower bracket, is Rowan out of the tournament. I think he made it to top 6 at this point. So well done, Rowan. Again, a very accomplished card game player. We can see he's got a good selection of games under his belt with a Thrones mat there from 2015. So again, well done, Rowan. Great to see you there on the day. And Anton moves on to, I think, the semi-finals now. So catch us again in the next game, guys. It's been a pleasure. See you again soon. Cheers.
Going over.